Sungen sie ut ave, Gabrielis ore, funda nos in pace, ut anselm nomen.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Garrison, and I want to welcome you to this beautiful Easter Sunday community call. We welcome all of you from around the world to join us. And we'll start, as we always do, with Apila offering us an invocation.
Good morning. I'm lighting this cedar to purify the air on this moment in time, in this sacred way. We greet Easter Sunday. We think of Passover, all the days, all the names holy. Ancestors, we give thanks this morning for the reality of the love that holds us together, for the reality of the love that emanates in life in all of its forms, the love that emanates in the word, in grammatica, the love that emanates in human sacrifice and kindness, the love that calls us together, the great love that opens the vision to the new dawn. Ah, Mama, ooh, I know.
Thank you, Apila. And thank you all for joining. We have a very large group, just about 98 of 100. I wasn't sure how many people would show up on a day like this, so I'm deeply grateful that we have such a strong commitment to Chartres and our community and everything that we do year by year to deepen our connection with each other and our connection with that sacred place. It's worth just noting that the cathedral was closed today, as cathedrals and churches the world over, with probably a few exceptions. The cathedral's been closed to the public for about a month and a half. And in France, they're not sure when the lockdown will be lifted, probably in the middle of May, they're saying, at the earliest. And so we wanted to come to all of you and share our thinking, some decisions we've made, get your counsel, and basically share what we're all going through. Many of you may know I'm stuck here in Amsterdam. I came about 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago, for a short business trip, and then the lockdowns happened, and I've been here ever since. And almost all of you are under lockdown in one form or another, some place or another. And we're all traversing a pandemic, the like of which the world has not seen, where for the first time everywhere, people are experiencing the same challenge, the same feelings, the same uncertainties, the same questions about the future, and the same bewilderment at how did this happen, and how is it that mighty countries can be felled into social distancing and standstill literally within days and weeks, something that before the pandemic would have been thought impossible, and yet we're now going through it. And so we've been monitoring the situation, wondering in the first instance, in the early days of the pandemic, was this going to be like, the SARS or the bird flu or some of the other scares that happened over the last couple decades, but would be effervescent and disappear quickly. But instead, this pandemic has dug in. And yesterday, as you know, the United States exceeded Italy in the number of deaths. Some of the countries like Japan and Hong Kong that lifted the lockdown thinking everything was okay have now gone back into a state of emergency because the pandemic flared up. Europe has been very uneven. Where I am in Amsterdam, it's relatively mild because they have such a strong medical infrastructure. Spain, Italy, France have been hit the hardest. So we had said in a letter out to all of you in the faculty that around mid-April, we were going to make a decision that we wanted to bring to you, but we're open to the voice of the community. But basically what we've decided is that it is prudent to not do any of the summer courses and turn each of the courses into a virtual course. And we're doing it for two basic reasons. Number one, your safety and the safety of our faculty and the safety of our staff are paramount. We don't want to in any way even potentially jeopardize any of us by traveling unnecessarily during this time of uncertainty, gathering together in a strange country where if something went wrong, you'd be in a foreign country in a foreign hospital. That would be a challenge. It's worth remembering that our demographic, which are, mature learners, most of you are in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and those in the 60s and 70s are in the most high risk group. So we wanted to make sure, doubly sure, that everybody's safe. And as we all know, the safest place to be right now is in your own home. And that is the countries that are implementing that are the countries that are flattening that curve and minimizing the number of cases and the number of deaths. So we wanted to protect you and us and our staff and our faculty first and foremost. The second reason is actually financial. Many of you have already paid. All the money that's been paid in has been sequestered into a certain bank account, as we always want to do with money coming in for future courses. You're all at home. Many of you haven't worked. So this, we thought, would be an opportunity to give you a refund. So you'll all be getting a stimulus check from the Wisdom School of Ubiquity University, because the amount that we're wanting to charge for the virtual course will be, a fraction of what the in-person course would have implied. And that's obvious. When you have in-person, people have to travel, there's tickets, there's transportations, there's accommodations, there's room rentals, there's, all the palaver of bringing, upwards of 100, last year was 125, 130 people together in one place at the same time. And when you go virtual, it allows people to stay basically where they are and experience Chartres in its mysterious majesty, but to do so from the comfort and the safety of your own home. So those are the reasons: safety, and are wanting to give you a stimulus check, a refund, in the hopes, obviously, that you'll keep part of it designated for the virtual Chartres. So the doctoral writing and research methods course that Georgie Szabo and Melissa Pritchard convene every year, that is going to be virtual. Grammatica is going to be virtual. Madonna Rising, the two pilgrimages. But what is going to happen is we'll do them for about 2 hours a day, but we're going to keep the dates. So the Grammatica virtual course will be between July 5th and July 11th. It'll start on Sunday. And like we do every Sunday, on Sunday, Apila will give the invocation as she will each day during the course. I'll do my nuggets. Banafshe will do her embodiment practice. We'll be talking about trauma and transformation. Sheva Carr and Robert Browning will be doing a discourse on heart coherence. You remember last year, every day we did a little bit of heart tuning, polishing the heart, as the Sufis called it. We'll be doing that again. Ruth will be singing. So we're going to be bringing you the experience of Chartres as best we can. And then for Madonna Rising, Banafshe and Peggy Rubin and Ann Baring and Veronica Goodchild will be coming together, Andrew Harvey, to talk about the Rosa Mystica, the sacredness of the rose in the Marian traditions, both in terms of the Virgin Mary and in terms of Mary Magdalene. The whole goddess archetype will be explored as you see it in the syllabus, but it'll be done from the dates of August 11th through the 19th. And then we're working with a very distinguished scholar, a woman named Kayleen Osbo, who many of you may know, who has already been developing virtual pilgrimages. So instead of the caves pilgrimage, we're going to have a pilgrimage to the Dordogne, the whole region in which the caves are located. We'll be visiting Roc Amador on the craggy cliffs of south of France, where the most sacred of the Black Madonnas is housed. We'll be following the pilgrim trails that lattice work their way through that whole region as people from Europe go down into Spain to the Capistello pilgrimage. And so that will be beautiful. And then for the Mary Magdalene pilgrimage in August after Madonna Rising, Kaylin is going to prepare a special Mary Magdalene virtual pilgrimage. And she's done it so often, she knows the people in the various sacred sites. So we're going to be trying to arrange that there will be a virtual viewing of some of the Mary Magdalene relics, and beautiful music and meditations and expositions on the deep traditions around Mary Magdalene and Jesus and Mary Magdalene in France and Joseph of Arimathea and her hermitage in the Baum cave in the forest, and the forest in France that for 700 years before Christ, there was a whole forest dedicated to the goddess Artemis, the goddess of the hunt, one of the three virgin goddesses in the Greek tradition. And it was there that Mary Magdalene came and ascended into a cave above the forest and stayed for 16 years. So we'll be virtually going into that forest and that cave. So we're working very, very hard to do something that is going to be mystical, enticing, community building. we'll be having group meditations and group processes. Pila will be doing the dreams. She'll be speaking about the dreams later on in this hour. So I just wanted to share that with you. And if you go up on our website, you'll see that we put up today that we're going virtual, and that we'll be sending out a letter probably in the middle of next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, with some of the details and the pricing. But all of you are going to save a lot of money. And I know probably all of you need money, as we all do, as we navigate through this pandemic. So you'll be safe, and your treasuries will be increased, and we'll still be able to keep our bonding in the Sacred Heart of Chartres. So I will pause here, and if anyone has any questions or comments, let me know. This is obviously going to be an opportunity for all of you to join the virtual experience from the safety and comfort of your own homes. And I'm just seeing here, there's from Amy Blumenshine, she's thrilled, and she'll get to participate in both Chartres courses without violating my climate conscious principle against flying. Thank you, thank you. And Amy Oscar, similarly, she wasn't able to come, and now she'll be able to. So those are good responses and good omens. There's a question from Preeti. I'm wondering if it is possible to audit the summer and attend in person in 2021. Yes, absolutely. Whatever you want to do is something that we're going to work out. You know, be directly in touch with me. Most of you have my email. We'll work it out. I think we're going to, most of you paid $1,200 plus logistics fees and everything else like that. So I think we're going to be asking for $349 for the virtual courses, all of them, with the exception of doctoral writing, because that's all for our doctoral students. So that's a different thing. But Grammatica, Madonna Rising, both the pilgrimages will cost exactly the same, $349. And if you're challenged to make that, be in touch with me directly. We know that all of us are going through harrowing times, and we want to make sure that during this duress, we deepen our bonds as community, and we extend the mysteries of Chartres as far as we can, and make it absolutely possible for all of us who want to participate in what we're doing here. A lot of affirmations coming in on the chat. But if anybody has any questions or comments or other ideas, please just raise your hand. It's in the lower panel at the bottom of your screen. And you may want to think about it. So in the meantime, Apila, I'll turn it back over to you, and you can say something about the dreams, and then if there's anybody who has any comments, we'll take them up. But if not, then we'll just close off the call early, because this is really what we wanted to talk about. But again, would appreciate anybody wanting to say anything, put it in the chat or raise your hand. We'll get you. Jim, do you know what time of day the classes will be held? We're not sure. Probably be early morning Pacific time. That'll allow people from Europe. So it'll be probably 8 a.m., possibly 10 a.m. Pacific time, so that people in Europe, even to India, will be close to midnight in India. But we normally convene early morning Pacific time to give as much of the world as we can the opportunity to come in. And of course, everything will be recorded so that if you miss one day, you can always get it later in the day because it'll be uploaded onto our Ubiverse. And we will be sending out a schedule of events probably within the next week. We'll be sending a letter out to everybody in a couple of days with descriptions of all the courses, and then we'll be filling in the actual schedule in the following weeks. So everybody will have probably everything they need by the end of the month. And will our money for the Saint Ives be returned? Absolutely. Everything that you've paid in for housing or anything will be returned. You will get a full refund minus the $349 if you choose to enroll in the virtual course. So thank you all. Pila?
Everyone. First, a note about the getting information out to the community about the dreams. It's our first time doing it virtually, and the messages got pretty messed up. So we're going to send everything out again the first week and second week. At the end of the dream work, the dream team, numbering 7, work virtually to put together a small PowerPoint to reflect on the dreams. And normally, if you're at Chartres, we share dreams 5 days in a row, and at the end, we present a reflection of what all the dreams collectively had to say to us. And what we're looking for is not what individual dreams, how to analyze individual dreams, but the model that evolved out of Chartres, which is so remarkable, is that it's a collective place-based experience. And as the years have gone by, we can see that it's actually become a ceremony. And it's a ceremony. I'm not just saying that word. I have a background in very, very ancient American Indian ceremonies that were suppressed for many years. So I don't use the word lightly. Why I feel that I could say that is because I didn't plan any of it. My background isn't in dream literature or dream research. I just was the person that could hold the circle. And the dream team does that. More and more we understand our job is to hold this sacred place for you who are coming to Chartres and virtual Chartres to share dreams. What happened in the first week of dream work, and I will be sending all this out again at the beginning of this coming week. Okay, in the first week of dream work, not surprisingly, there are a lot of dreams about the coronavirus, and the message that came through was, "It is done." People dreamt of white tongues and black smoke coming out of the mouth of a genie, and forests on fire, really, and Roman soldiers. So the message came, a direct message in the first week's dream. There's an alarm going in the whole country. And then at the same time, we had dreams of a key, a big key, but when we tried to put it in a lock, the lock would melt and so forth. And there were elevator dreams. People kept trying to rise above the illness that we're all dealing with in a pandemic, but we just couldn't make it in the dreams of week 1. Near the end of the dreams that were reported, we started to see a little bit of hope coming in. And someone first came the question, "How old are you?" And old meaning really think how far you go back, what's behind you, the ancestors behind you. How old are you to the stars, you know? And we saw wildflowers and surrounding big white blossoms. And then finally, there was a message, I can feel the presence of a person behind me, a calmness. The last part of the week one was go to the trees. And that's a really encouraging sign for those of us who've worked at Chartres for many years, because the first cathedral that was at Chartres, when it was a hill and no cathedral at all, was a circle of oak trees. So go to the trees is a really good piece of advice from the ancestors. In week two, the question came, do you remember me? And we began to see in week two the hopefulness, the purification, more grace, more calmness, and white prayers. The first week, when we saw lots of images and symbols with the color white, we were reminded of an old Gaul blessing, which is the white blessing on you, and white meaning purity. So we use that at the end of the show, which you will get sent again if you haven't already seen it. And at the end of the last week's PowerPoint, we gave the white blessing. And then lo and behold, this week, there were all kinds of white prayers and white blessings showing up in the dreams. And then that gave us kind of an eerie feeling that we get when we're doing work with the dreams. Like there's something else communicating with us. And that something is what we always wanted to connect with. So that idea of something speaking to us from the hill, the spirits of the hill, of the oak trees, of all the generations that have been there before us and were inspired, we become more and more aware that that's happening. We can see it, and it doesn't just happen like in a heavy-handed way. Sometimes you have to work for it. Like in week one, we had more dreams show up in week one than I have seen in any of the 15 years of dream work we've done at Chartres. We only had 15 dreams reported week one, and there were 25 numbers that appeared in those dreams. So we consulted with our sacred mathematician friend, Jane, and he said that the numbers formed a prime cross, a prime number cross. And when he showed us how the numbers array, it took the shape of a Knights Templar cross. And of course, it was the Templars whose understandings of sacred geometry and mathematics and acoustics built Chartres Cathedral. So of course, since that's the wisdom that their generation brought to the site, they announced their presence through all these numbers showing up. But it didn't come just like, oh, the Templars are here. We had to work with those numbers, think about them, and then ask for help from each other. So another more obvious example is the bear showing up like this, and then Saint Christopher. So it's as if all of the teachers, all of the masters, the Druids and before the Druids, all of those intelligences are coming forward in our dreams. And we as a team realize that as we try to do these shows, to reflect back to the community what your dreams are showing, it's really hard to convey the mystery of that place. And what I could say today is that the dreams, if we were to go to Chartres in medieval times, we would be inspired in a way that we would create stained glass, we would work with acoustics, we'd work with sacred geometry. And without even realizing it, the dream process that's been shown to us and taught to us being at Chartres. And I might mention that in the field of dream research, dream literature, there is no model of dream work like what we have at Chartres. And that model or that ritual showed itself, and it evolved over the years. So as a dream team is holding the space for the dreams, what we realized is we're inspired by the same impulses. We glyph or illustrate the dreams. In the old days, it would have been stained glass windows, right? And we work with sound. And in this week's dream, sound came through a number of times. And that doesn't happen that often, including ending with joy and hallelujah. So like the masters of old, the process that expresses through humanity coming to this site, through pilgrims to this site, turns out to be the same, that it repeats itself. There's an implicate order, as David Bohm would call it, and there's an unfoldment, both in the presentation of the ceremony and then our awareness of what that is. So you, the Chartres Dream community, we really are here as a team to hold that space for you and your dreams. In ancient days, the Druids, the Gaul shamans from the sacred hill of Chartres, they would climb the celestial tree to the North Star and return with wisdom for the community to keep life going. Today, you, the dreamers, you also, through your dreams, receive the message from the North Star, and in your dreams, share the message that you have received, and it's coming by way of that hill of Chartres. And we, the Dream Team, are simply here to hold that space so that we all might enter more deeply into the mystery of Chartres from its most ancient beginnings to today, through the sacred stained glass images of the dreams and dream symbols you share. Every dream you have, every snippet you have to share matters, because when we put them together in graphic illustration and look at the transcript of what you said, the messages began to show themselves. And this week, and you'll see this in the PowerPoint we send out to you, we had, do you remember me? White prayers are filling negative space. And this is a really good one. There's a knock on the door. And another thing, we had dreams, 2 weeks in a row, we had dreams of earrings. And the message coming with it is to be careful what we listen to. And then finally, even though a dreamer said this past week that there were lots of rules, she stepped into a pool, and we had infinity pools and infinity mirrors. So this suggests to me that ideas and direction and guidance it's arriving, it's coming to us. So please keep sharing your dreams. And Jim, do you want to say something about people? The first week, we were really saddened because 60 people had dreams to share, and we never had time to take them. Now we're getting better at refining the process in a virtual way, but we would like those of you who didn't get the chance to share to either leave a video clip or a written description of your dream on the Ubiverse platform. So I think that's it. Thank you.
Eva. You're doing such extraordinary work. And, as I've said before, but it's worth repeating, during times of collective duress, such as now, dreams become a very important guide from out of the unconscious into our conscious awareness, fractalized as dreams often are, but to the discerning, carrying deep wisdom, and in many cases, a prescience of things to come. That has been a very consistent theme in the dream work that Apila's been curating now for 14 years, 2 cycles of the liberal arts, starting with the very first one there in Chartres. So monitor your dreams. And as Pila said, we were so overwhelmed in that first call with so many people that wanted to share their dreams. We just couldn't get even a fraction of them. So we've sent an email out to everybody who's participated in the weekly calls. We've had 2 calls so far, Sunday at 10 a.m. And if you're interested, please be in touch with me or be in touch with Apila or Georg or anybody on the staff, Claire, Bob, and they'll make sure that you get on the list. And then during the week, you can go up on our Ubiverse, our platform, and you can upload a video, you can write a little blog, you can have threaded conversations about your dreams. It's a private group. It's just called the Dream Group. So if you sign on to the Ubiverse, you can find the Dream Group and just dig right in and participate in any way that you feel so moved to do. Apila, did you want to say anything further?
Yes, I wanted to say this, that we have some dream journals, Chartres dream journals, that some people might want to buy. They're $25, I think. And what's good is that when you for our time now is that the dream journal is Chartres themed, but it's more than that. When you open the dream journal, it talks about the Chartres dream ceremony, and you can walk. There's a labyrinth you can walk with your pen or finger, and then there's a QR code. So when you begin your dream work, you can scan your QR code and you can listen to the music that we normally open the dream circle with at Chartres. And finally, what makes the dream journal Chartrian is at the end of the dream in the journal, it asks you to formulate some sort of prayer or affirmation for the dream that you've received. So we have about, I think, 10 of them. And Gail Lloyd is the person who will mail them out to you. So Jim, I guess we could put that notice with the dreams that go out too, huh?
Yeah. Do you happen to have a copy there that you can show people?
I have to run upstairs and wake up my husband.
Not to worry.
When I stop talking now, I'll go look, and I may have one here in our supply cabinet. So I'll take a look at that. The other thing is, I mean, what these journals we're selling at cost, because obviously it was a small run. We do maybe 100 journals a year. So just so you know, we're not making money on it. We lose money on every one. But it's just our love of the dream work in Chartres that you it just makes you want to stay close with each other and love each other. And the journal kind of helps do that. And the other thing is, Veronica Kutzer is a South African wildlife photographer. And every year she comes to Chartres and she makes these stunning, stunning dream compositions that you will see. And she also is offering those at a very modest price if you want one. So we'll share that as well. Then just thank you, Jim. Thanks for asking. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful mystery to be involved with. And I'm so grateful that it's touched my life and changed my life. And now while Jim talks, I'm going to go look for a dream journal.
Well, why don't you just stay? We'll send something out to people would probably be better.
Okay.
But just in a moment, Apila will offer a benediction and blessing as we go out into this sacred day. But I just wanted to recap for those of you who may have joined late that we've decided to transition all of our courses into virtual courses. They'll be held on the same dates as the in-person courses. Those of you taking the courses for credit will get full credit. You'll have to write a post paper, etc., as per normal. But we're keeping everything the same. We're just turning it into virtual. And we'll conduct them every morning using Grammatic as an example between Sunday, the 11th of July, and Saturday, the 5th of July, and Saturday, the 11th of July. We'll probably go for 2 hours or so. And Apila will give the opening invocation. I'll do my little nugget. We'll have presentations from faculty. We'll have singing. We'll contemplate. We'll do a meditation, a video collage around the labyrinth and the crypt so that everybody can have that experience. So we're going to do our best to bring through an online format the deep sacredness and mystery of Chartres and the beauty of that magnificent cathedral. I want to thank everybody for showing up on this call. Like Apila, I'm deeply moved, profoundly moved by the commitment and the dedication of this community. It's at the heart. Chartres and the Chartres Academy and this community is the sacred heart of Ubiquity University. It's what keeps us grounded into the earth and into the cosmos. And the dreams that we share, and the labyrinth and the crypt, and the mysteries that we've embodied and while we've been there have been probably the most important thing in my life. And as the staff knows, I was deeply grieved at the thought of not being able to go back to Chartres this year, because Chartres is so deeply embedded in my spiritual psyche that I kind of went through a period of denial and then grief that I wasn't going to be able myself to go back to that place. And so we've had a real process as a group holding this, but in the end felt that it was paramount that we place the safety of the community and the faculty and the staff above all, and use this as an opportunity to give people probably some badly needed money. So thank you all. We'll be sending out information over the next couple of days and look forward to our next monthly call in May. I want to just bless you and thank you and turn it over to Apila for a final blessing.
Thank you, Jim. I just would like to offer one last thought about the dreams, and that is that what we saw in the dream, what we've seen in the last 2 weeks of dreams, is that even if people have not been to Chartres, the dreams are clicking together, and the magic and the majesty of the hierophany, the showing of the spirit through the dreams, continues, whether you have been to Chartres or not, and that is a blessing. So with that, I burn the cedar again. And offer this prayer. Ancestors, in the circle behind each participant, placed around the world, and through thoughts and listening now, contributing the essence of those places, times, and ancestors. Surely the dreams of this group, the prayers, the love of this circle is the greatest gift we can receive. Unconditional love. Who would not be wise to walk this path so long traveled by the ancestors. Happy Easter, everyone. Aloha from Hawaii.
Happy Easter, everyone. Enjoy this sacred day.
Bye, Jim.
Yeah, bye, everyone.